time where I first initially started teaching in capoeira classes, youth groups here, and she came many times to give support to the class. And one of the songs that she would always sing with our children was Chim 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 Out of One.
Lucy Murphy, song leader, Washington, D.C. We used to chant together. Now I'm your behind that, Kel. I really appreciated her consciousness about the environment, about water and land, which was encouraging people to garden, to use solar power, panels on the roof.
Kojo Johnson, Sylvia and I always have these inside jokes, I guess, the long-standing jokes. And probably nobody else even think was funny, but there's one that we always had about when she first turned the key to this place. And a guy showed up and was like, hey, this is my place, da, da, da. But just the way she handled it was so amicable. Because here she was, owner of the building, and somebody was claiming the building in the community. So it's really about that, the way she handled that transition and everything was just a beautiful thing.
My name is Shivani Gaius. One of my fondest memories of Sister Sylvia was the moment I met her. She had just laid the floor upstairs. I had just moved to DC from the other DC, Denver, Colorado. My mother and I did not have a family here, and she saw the two of us and said, welcome home.
My name is Aaron Colbert. One of my fondest memories of Sylvia is probably one of the last ones too. I helped her make food in the last 2 months, and then on Friday we always ate that together. And the last Friday we watched her favorite, what show was it? It was a crime show. And she was very happy watching it, and my girlfriend asked, which one do you want to see tonight, Sylvia? I want to see this one because it's my favorite, so that's what we watched in that evening.
First, I'd like to thank everybody that surrounded our family last year when we were going through a difficult time. So if I didn't personally thank you, I'd just like to thank you now. There were so many people, more than we could ever, touch, but we really, really appreciate it. My sister transitioned almost a year ago in the same place that she was born. So she was born in George Washington Hospital, and that was a hospital that cared so well for her toward her last days. She started as a volunteer for the suicide hotline, later in a hospital, and expanded to support groups. And then she had the vision, the dream for ECAC.
Steven Spielberg said in a recent video, the hardest thing to listen to, your instincts, your personal intuition, always whispers, never shouts. So you always have to be ready to hear the whisper.
I remember when she first began to share her vision with me of returning back to the city to help the community where we grew up. Our house was located at 918 Quincy Street, which is in walking distance here, a long walk, but within walking distance here. And we grew up in the same house. We never moved. We were always a part of this community. We were here when they had the Martin Luther King riots, and the servicemen were stationed outside of our door. We saw the community go down. We saw the community come up. She developed a love for her community. Once she had the vision, she sold her home. She brought all her things to my house to store in the garage. And I still didn't quite get what, but she did. She brought everything to my house until she could secure the space here at ECAC, which she did, and it originally Emergence Inc. And I remember coming down, and like he mentioned, the building there was no heat. The windows were broken. It was the stairs one of the stairs on one side still needed to be straightened.
Back in 2003, when 733 Euclid Street was a dark and desolate place, when it rained inside and the squatters were in charge, I would sit in the building for hours, still, quiet, almost trance-like, listening to the ancestors whisper their stories into my being. Stories both of the past and the future. You see, what manifests today as capoeira and poetry, dance and fellowship at ECAC began as whispers in a quiet place when I was able to be still. Now this is powerful technology.
And I would last down here visiting with her for about an hour. Then I was ready to go back home where it was warm. But she was committed to stay here until she saw her vision through. So she would always have a hat and warm clothing. And she was perfectly happy. She wasn't afraid of the community or afraid of being in a building that really wasn't that secure. I'm very thankful that her vision is going to continue. She formed her board and began the tedious process of writing proposals and securing different people to volunteer. And I'm always amazed when I come to the building and I can just still see what it was like when she first bought it. So many of you in the room helped to make ECAC what it is today. So it's my sister was definitely the founder and the one that speared the whole process, but it took a community working together with a common goal to bring ECAC to where it is today. I'm very grateful that her vision will not be lost, and so many of you are here tonight to ensure that it continues. For most people, she was a community leader or a friend. For me, she was my only sister, and I still really miss her. So I thank you for allowing her family to continue to be a part of ECAC, and I just want you to know we're here to help wherever we can.
Oh.